Hello everybody, welcome back to the MTG Arena channel. Today, I'm your host, MTGNerdGirl, and we're going to be taking you through a brand new Murders at Karlov Manor standard deck. I have dubbed this Value Town because this deck is so much value and so much fun. It does some pretty big explosive turns incredibly quickly. Now you guys might be familiar with these sort of recursion decks that bring these big haymakers back in very, very quickly. So you're used to seeing cards like Atraxa, Grand Unifier, and Etali, Primal Conqueror in these sorts of decks. We also have big hitters like Virtue of Persistence and Breach the Multiverse. And the newest big hitter is Conspiracy Unraveler. There's a lot of really expensive cards here, but don't worry, we have lots of ways to bring them back. We have 2, It Doesn't Add Up from the new set, and we have 4, Reenact the Crime, also from the new set. This is going to allow us to bring back those incredibly big and scary creatures on turn 4 and 5. And it's pretty consistent, as you'll see when we get into the gameplay. Now, the biggest thing to remember is that this deck is mostly built around this Reenact the Crime card that just came out, and it can bring back any non-land card that was put into the graveyard that turn. Now it is instant speed, so if they kill your Atraxa on their turn with a board clear, you can use this to bring it back and crack them on your turn. So that is good, but you also need to ensure that you aren't accidentally discarding your big haymaker spells a turn too early before you can cast this. It's definitely something that can trip you up. But you also have cards like It Doesn't Add Up that allow you to, at instant speed, bring back those big haymakers, only creatures, unlike the Reenact the Crime that can do the Breach the Multiverse or the Virtue of Persistence. This one will do your Atraxa and your Etali and your Conspiracy Unraveler. Now, the golden play for this deck is getting to, on turn 2 or 3, either Rona, Looter, Celestis, Kaito, Liliana, one of those cards, pitch one of your big haymakers, and on turn 4, bring it back with the Reenact the Crime. It's not terribly tough to make this happen. Our biggest weakness is a single counter spell, but it's reasonably easy to play around, and in best of 1, you're up against some more aggressive decks. So we also have cards like Terror of the Tide to help with that, as well as Rona helps with some mono red as well. Kaito and Liliana can soak up some additional damage and kill some creatures. So overall, we have this really well-rounded game plan that allows us to sort of stick in the game early and very quickly overwhelm the board with just turn 4 Atraxas. I've definitely had this deck kind of go off and get to Breach the Multiverse into a Conspiracy Unraveler, which allowed me to play Persistence or Atraxa from my hand for free, with all those extra cards put into the graveyard. So that's enough for me for now. Let's go ahead and get into the gameplay. Let you guys see what this deck looks like firsthand, and then at the end, I want you guys to make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know. I'm still working on what my final deck list will be, so I would love to hear your thoughts on it. But let's go ahead and check out the deck. All right, game number 1, Caveman. Okay, Liliana is a discard source for the Conspiracy Unraveler to reenact on 4 if we can find another land. Yeah, this looks like a great keep. 2 or fewer lands, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cast the sewer first. Great, I need a land. It also gives me 2 black on 3 and 4 blue on 4, which is perfect. 2 or fewer lands. Now, what is our opponent doing here? We've got some Simic, and it looks like we are going to do a little land searching, not a problem. Now, it's important to remember that Liliana cannot discard the Conspiracy Unraveler this turn because the Reenact the Crime will only do cards that have entered the graveyard this turn. So if we want to reenact the Unraveler, it needs to be the next turn. Get a little peek at what our opponent's doing here. It looks like they're playing something a little bit more off the wall as well. Okay, now do we play around counter magic? That is the question. Let's see. I think we're fine to do it, especially because we have the cruelty the following turn. Yeah, you know, Simic, we're gonna say you don't have a lot going on. This is fine. This is fine. Excellent. It resolved. Fantastic. All right, our opponent is playing Fairy Rose. Aggro Simic. All right. Does not kill Liliana. Not a problem. We can make them discard.
I'm tired of your.
Just gonna get rid of the looter. They have no creatures for me to get back with Gix. Oh, that's a great card. I'm gonna keep Liliana. I'm gonna not attack, save Liliana for one more turn. And then we can kill it with the Virtue next turn. If we want. That feels pretty good. How many cards in our graveyard? Not enough. But that's okay. -3. Okay. Alright, I'm willing to sacrifice this.
You failed to entertain me. No fun when
Excellent. Not a bad start for our first game. We'll definitely take that. Alright, game number 2. This looks like another great hand. We have Rona for a discard outlet, discard Etali, and turn 4, Reenact the Crime on the play. We just need one more blue source, and this hand is absolutely nutty. Let's go, let's go. We can do it. 2 or fewer lands, and this one always comes into play tapped. So let's start here. And, this card is really good against aggressive decks, so I'm going to keep it with the Rhoda in hand. It means that we get to pitch cards pretty aggressively and find that additional 4th land. Interesting. Okay, okay. We want to make sure we don't accidentally pitch the Etali now, because the Reenact the Crime does need it to come into play that turn, or hit the battlefield that turn. I probably should have looked for a land on my turn with the Rona instead of waiting, but we only get punished if we find a tapped land. Okay, against this deck, I don't think we care about the Virtue anytime soon. And we got there. Huzzah. Now, would I prefer the Unraveler or the Breach? I think I would prefer, honestly, in their deck, I'm going to take the Breach. I think that is a pretty darn good option. We'll take a point of damage, but we get to cast the Breach for free. I love this. Their deck is going to have some big cards. Only one of them, but I also get a Kaito. All of those things are fine. Awesome. Hopefully we have too many threats for them, and we put a ton of cards into our graveyard with the Breach that makes the Conspiracy Unraveler much, much better. And we got there. Turn 4 on the play. Too scary, too quickly. All right, our last game was an incredibly fast showing. Let's see if we can get something similar. All right, we have our discard spell, we have a recursion spell that is not time sensitive, and we have early removal for the more aggressive decks. So this is a pretty solid starting point for us. 2 or fewer, 2 or more, great. Let's go ahead and start with our always comes into play tapped. Yeah, we'll take one more land for sure. We want to make sure we can get to 5 moderately easy. Let's get our discard outlet going. Especially because this particular deck is very strong. If they had the Scamp, they're probably casting it already. Great. I'm gonna hold on to the Liliana because I want Liliana to discard this the turn I want to cast the It Doesn't Add Up. So I think I'm just gonna go here, pitch the extra card. Let's get their ramp out of here. And that should be good. Liliana makes them sacrifice a creature, so we want to make sure we keep those options open. Fight rigging, not a problem. And our card is not time sensitive, which is really nice. We can sort of pitch it at any time. Let's start with Lily. And each player discards. I'm not too worried about this. I don't think their deck is going to have any way to interact with our graveyard. And we can also, I'm going to loot for a land. Probably should have done that on our turn earlier, just in case we found a tapped land. We might get a little punished for that, but we do get 3 looks. Looks like our opponent putting a pretty large creature onto the battlefield. It probably won't be as big as an Atraxa, if we can find that land. Oh no, come on. Oh, also it is just, Liliana can just down tick, right? Oh no. This is fine. We don't need another looter. Liliana, target player, sack a creature. That's what we get for not developing with the Celestis early. It Doesn't Add Up will be great here. Sure, take action. We're not going to need this board clear. Play the Dark Slick Shores. Honestly, I think I just want to pass and cast It Doesn't Add Up at the end of their turn. It is instant speed, which is really nice. We could uptick the Lily, but I want to keep both of these spells. I don't want them interacting with my stuff. So let's start here with the Atraxa on end step. We want all of these things, yes? Extra land, always good. 2 or more. And a breach, always good. Amazing. Let's go ahead and start with the attacks. Each player discards a card. We are going to discard... we're going to discard the bird. And then we're going to bring the bird back with a Reenact Crime, casting the breach for free. And the breach can easily put enough things into my graveyard to where we can continue to get more value very, very easily. Casting breach for free is pretty great. My goodness, this deck is just full of haymakers. If you can get any one of your recursion spells on 4 or 5 is, whew, this deck is crazy. All right, our last couple games were pretty strong. Let's see if we can get a solid game here with no payoff. Hopefully we have enough redraw with Rona and Kaito to ensure that we can reenact on turn 4 for another quick game. Start with our tapped land. Probably Rona first. Means that Kaito might come into play tapped, but I think I'm okay with that. Ooh, bat, huh? So this is gonna be some Esper goodness. They could take Terror Tide, or they could take Rona or Kaito, neither of which are great for them. All right, now we can go ahead and just start here. Oh, no. Don't make me choose. I want to keep more of those in my hand. I can't put that in the graveyard. That's just against the flavor of the day. Even though it would activate my Terror of the Tide, but I am okay with that. Kaito will activate it just fine. Let's give them, oh my goodness, as little information as possible. Let's start with a draw and a discard. We need to make sure that our big hits go in later, so let's get rid of this. And we want to make sure we also have a 4th land for next turn, and we should just be able to get all of our big hits here. And we might not even want to. We might just want to Terror the Tide and blow up the board here. You're probably holding on to a counterspell though, huh? Come on, tap your mana. Esper control, you don't want to counter anything. All right, excellent. No counter magic. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and Kaito away an Etali. And we will just get an Etali back. Put it onto the battlefield. Turn 4, not too shabby. We definitely don't want Denick. Cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities. We will decline the Denick, thank you. Target opponent reveals their hand, choose a creature. They discard it. Might as well get the full value. There's no creature in my graveyard right now. So I'm okay with the cruelty going through all of the stages. Oh. Cool. So they do have a make disappear. I'm very glad they chose not to hold open their mana, because I probably would have ran my face straight into it, which would have mitigated the second Reenact the Crime, because the Etali would have went in a previous turn. So, whew. Yeah, this is the aggro side of things. We definitely want to play around this make disappear, which will be hard.
You almost stopped me that time.
But they can't do much. Okay, a Denick, you're annoying. Okay. I get to look for a card, put it into my hand. Liliana. Do we just take like a big bomb? We can't technically put anything into our graveyard right now. Does this say all cards? Yep, cards in graveyard. So we're not discarding anything. So let's just take a removal spell. Let's see if they want to sack a creature to make sure I don't get this back. They can make disappear, that's okay. This will also keep my Kaito safe. And if we get the Rona back, it allows us to fill up our graveyard even more. Let's draw and discard. Another permanent, I like that. And we'll put the Rona in play as well. And then the Terror Tide should be good. They can't activate the Virtue and hold open anything, so we should be okay. If they Virtue, then they can't stop us from Terror Tiding. We are 1 mana short though, or 1 card in the graveyard short from being able to stop the Virtue. That's only if they hit this land. Denik is such a hoser for my deck specifically, which is really sad. So if we get 4 cards in the graveyard with the Kaito... Oh. They're gonna throw Denik at me? Interesting. I will eat the Denik, because now we can at least activate the Reenact the Crime.
I'm hungry. I'm gonna get a snack.
Kaito's now in the graveyard. Oh. Oh, we can take this bat and get their counterspell? That was probably not the best option, but it's the one that brings me the most joy. So now we can get rid of this. And we can attack? They'll have another bat? They'll get their counterspell back too, but I don't know if I care. We could just do this. And then they'll have to spend all of their time getting 1 card out of my hand. That's okay. And they also want to hold open this counter magic forever. And we have Etali, and they've got no board. I think this is good. Okay, you made a 3/3. Not gonna lie, I kind of forgot that was an instant. They can cast, like, just the Rafine, hold open the counter. I'm fine with that. If they want to also bat, that's not the worst. They probably have to get the Terror Tide. But I think they just hold open. Nope, they're gonna go for bat. So they have to Terror Tide here. Otherwise, they're just dead in the water. So what are my options? Kaito does not leave us enough for Reenact. Oh man, that's a little sad. So I think we start with a Kaito.
I could sneak right by.
Discard and draw. Oh, helpful. Let's get rid of this. And we'll get rid of the bat. Gain some more life, and now we have Terror Tide, and we can just make sure that they can't attack us too quickly, too heavily. They have to hold open the Make Disappear again. Discard a Rafine. Oh. Oh no, it made their thing too large. But I think we're okay with that now that we have Breach.
Now this is a juicy secret.
This might not work out as well as I would like, but I feel like casting Breach is a good start. Shieldred, a Wandering Emperor. All of your stuff is vigilant. This bat has lifelink. I mean, I don't hate it. Oh no, did I really? Oh, okay, this is good. This is fine. Great. Whew. We got there. Do I have enough in the graveyard? I certainly do. So let's go ahead and cast Liliana for free, and we'll get rid of 4, 2, 2, and 2.
Enough with the mysteries.
Target player sacks a creature. And and we might as well play this too. I think we've got plenty. 7 and 10. Sure, I think attacking with Etali seems reasonable. That was a big turnaround. Definitely glad we hit a breach. This make disappear has just been never useful for them. Man, this is such a fun deck. I'm so glad that the Murderers cards have made this possible, because it is seriously a blast. Yeah, we're not really scared about losing the Conspiracy Unraveler with the Virtue on board, right? I think that is fine. I think they're just using Rafine to cycle away here and hope to find something. I'm happy with the bounce, and I'm happy to untap and kill you. Do we just attack them? I think we do just attack them with all of our stuff. Lifelink that. Mill some cards. So many triggers. Holy smokes. I like the Reenact the crime more. No, I don't. This one. Because this one lets me get back the Atraxa at any point. That seems better. Okay, so they can block 4 from the Etali, eat this, and still take 8, 9, a lot. The land only drains when they attack, not when they block, so I think we are fine here. Wow. The grindy game. Again, I do think that there were probably some cleaner lines there, but we had an overwhelming number of options that all led to our opponent's demise, so not too shabby. Overall, I think this deck is a ton of fun. Let's take another look at this deck list here. New all-stars from Murders at Karlov Manor. We have It Doesn't Add Up. This is an instant speed recursion spell. That means if your opponents get to board clear or remove something on their turn that doesn't exile, you can use this. Bring your Atraxa back on their end step and hit them in the face. It is incredibly cool, and I think I might be a little bit more interested in having one more of these and maybe swapping it out for one less discard, because we have plenty. 4 Rona, 2 Looters, the Celestis, it's the Kaitos, the Lilies. It feels like we have a lot more ways to get cards into our graveyard. Then we do the recursion spells, because right now we're just using the 4 Reenact and the 2 It Doesn't Add Up. So I think I'd like one more. Yeah, everything here seems pretty great. The other all-star from the new set is the Reenact the Crime. Important to remember, you can only bring things back that were there, put there this turn into your graveyard, but unlike the It Doesn't Add Up, it can be anything. So it can be your Breach the Multiverse, your Virtue of Persistence, just crazy shenanigans that happen also at instant speed. Love it. And then again, the main reason I liked this deck originally is the Conspiracy Unraveler. I thought that was a really cool card. If you could cheat this guy into play and get to use cards like Breach the Multiverse to put a bunch of cards into your graveyard, get more cards out, and then you can use those extra cards to collect evidence and get to play even more crazy spells. Get your Virtue of Persistence out basically for free. This, so much value, so much fun. For those of you guys watching on the MTG Arena YouTube channel, I hope you enjoyed our silly little deck here. Make sure you guys leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this deck. Let me know if you guys give it a try, what tweaks you might make. I would love to see it. I'll make sure to answer any questions in the comments over the next few weeks. And that's it, guys. Thank you guys again so much. I will see you in the next video. Bye.